Hi there, I'm Becky Reuber, and I'm a professor of strategic management here at the Rotman School of Management. My expertise is in entrepreneurship. I'm here to answer questions about launching and growing a startup. Okay, I've built my business, I'm making a profit, now people are telling me I have to go global. Where's the playbook for that? I can understand why people are telling you have to go global. We know that Canada has pretty small domestic market for most products and services, and so if you want to expand your company, if you want to grow, you're going to have to do it in foreign markets for the most part. But there's two aspects of this question that I'd like to focus on. The first aspect is going global. Going global makes it sound like you're going to be doing business all over the world. The reality is that very few businesses are global. Most of them do business in one or two foreign markets or a select group of foreign markets. I mean, Facebook and LinkedIn you may think of as global, but they don't do business everywhere. And so it's important to think about how you might expand your business in a few countries, or which countries would be appropriate for that. It's probably not global, but it's good to think about foreign markets. The second aspect is the playbook. That kind of suggests that all businesses that are expanding internationally have the same way to do that, and nothing can be further from the truth, that it really depends on what you're selling. For example, if you're selling, say, a medical device, hospitals and physicians around the world are probably going to use that medical device in the same way. And it's relatively easy, it's not easy, but straightforward to expand into markets because you understand the customers. However, if you're selling something like furniture, we know that there are huge differences among what people in different countries want to buy as furniture for their homes. And so you would have to think about how you might understand and enter each foreign market separately. What does a venture capitalist do, and how is that different from an angel investor? Should I just apply to Shark Tank to get my business funded? Well, let's start with the very first type of investor that many founders start with, and that's called the 3 Fs, or family, friends, and fools. And sometimes you can get seed money from a relative or from a friend just to get you going until you have something to show to investors who aren't related to you. So once you've sort of got something to show, the next step would be to look for an angel investor. An angel investor is a high net worth individual who is interested in investing in startups. Typically, they were an entrepreneur themselves, or maybe they still are. They like the challenges of startup. They feel that they have something to give back. They have experience that you can learn from. They have connections to help you. And if they've got a good reputation, that's a signal. The fact that they're investing in you is a signal that your business is credible. Venture capitalists are very different. They raise funds, manage funds, and invest funds professionally. They're much more profit-oriented than an angel investor because they raise funds professionally and they manage funds professionally and they invest funds professionally. They have a much more structured and formalized approach. The upside is that you can get a lot more money from them over time. The potential downside is that they will want more control over your business than an angel investor will. So there'll be governance mechanisms like their role on the board of directors and things. In many cases, they even have the latitude to fire the CEO and bring in a new person who they think will do a better job. As for Shark Tank, I guess I think of Shark Tank as more like angels. They're high net worth individuals who are investing in businesses. A lot of businesses go on Shark Tank or Dragon's Den, and don't get money. I know of businesses in that situation, but they were actually benefited because it was a PR boost. Don't forget that these shows are televised, and so while the other kind of investors are in the background that nobody knows about, if you're in a consumer market, it might be beneficial to get people to hear about your product or service on TV. What's the biggest mistake new businesses face as they look to grow? I'm going to say that there's not one biggest mistake, but in fact there's 3 mistakes that are common. The first is not having enough cash to grow. Growth is expensive. Growth just zaps your cash because you're putting out money before you're bringing in money. And so the entrepreneur has to be very aware of how they're going to finance growth. Are they going to get investment in that will help with this, and what it means for their cash flow. The second biggest mistake is not being discerning about new customers. And I've had entrepreneurs tell me that it's as important to not take on some customers as it is just to make a sale with anyone, because customers that don't fit what you're doing and what you can do well can distract the business. You're constantly having to think about what this new customer base looks like and what's effective for you. The third mistake is underestimating the human resources aspect of your business. Suddenly you're going to have a lot more employees. For example, you might bring in a new VP of US sales or something, and that person would be senior to everybody who's been with you since day one, or probably senior. And so how do you deal with potential interpersonal conflict? It's at this stage that many businesses bring in a formal HR function because the founder just doesn't have time anymore when the business is growing to worry about when people's vacation schedules are, or to arrange for parental leaves, or to do all those things that you could do informally when the business was small. I've just asked AI to create my new entrepreneurial venture and business plan. What could go wrong? Probably quite a bit. An AI tool can be a useful source of information, but I would hate for an entrepreneur to rely on it. The key to entrepreneurial success, certainly around startup, and when you're talking about developing a business plan, that's clearly towards startup, is just the deep knowledge that the entrepreneur has about all aspects of the business and their interrelationships. So if something changes, that they can sort of figure out what the implications are for that. If you hand that over to a AI aid, I would worry that the entrepreneur would just not learn about those interrelationships, not spend the time, knocking on doors and finding out how things go together, and would assume that the AI tool was the expert. I guess the other thing that crossed my mind on this is that, what if somebody else asked the same AI tool to create a venture in the same space? Would you then have an identical business plan? That could be problematic as well. 5 years in, and my business still hasn't turned a profit. When should I just call it quits? Well, there's nothing magical about the 5-year period. Certainly Dropbox didn't turn a profit till it was over 10 years old. There are examples of lots of businesses that haven't turned a profit in the first 5 years. Think about, are investors interested in your business or still interested in your business? Are customers interested in your business or still interested in your business? Are you finding it personally fulfilling? If all those questions are yes, then I don't think I would call it quits. But if customers are uninterested in what you're selling, if investors are uninterested in supporting you. And if you no longer find the business personally fulfilling, then it's probably time to walk. How do you even start a business? Everyone says you need to follow your passion, but my passion is watching old Friends episodes. Starting a business is really hard work. And if you don't have the energy to put into that, then I think you're much better off seeking employment. Considering how connected we all are, does it really matter where in the world my startup is based? Do I really need to be in Silicon Valley? First of all, it's important to realize that successful businesses are started in many different locations all over the world. Certainly Silicon Valley has some advantages if you're starting a digital business in terms of sort of deep knowledge of the sector and of how business models work, as well as that's widespread among people that live there. But other places have those advantages too, Toronto being one of them, and it's cheaper to locate here. I think that when you decide where to locate, it has to be, where you want to live as a founder, where your primary customers are, because you're going to tap into them all the time, and where the talent is, because as the business grows, you're going to need to hire people to fuel that growth. Can anyone be an entrepreneur, or does it take a specific personality to succeed? No, it doesn't take a specific personality. Lots of entrepreneurship researchers have written hundreds of papers looking for the holy grail of what an entrepreneurial personality is. They haven't found anything. I think there are specific behaviors that successful entrepreneurs have. They work hard, as I've already said. They communicate well, and they're very focused on outcomes. And that makes sense, but is that unique to an entrepreneur? Those same behaviors are characteristic of successful individuals in every field of endeavor, so it's not particular to an entrepreneur. That's everything. If you want to learn more about startups or entrepreneurial success, click the link below to visit the Rotman Insights Hub. Thanks for tuning in.